Roos women are on deck, Dare to Dream is done, and Nicolao is coming to Houston on today's TXWaterpolo Podcast.
There's an ocean between us, my love.
I'm James Smith in Austin, Texas. Joe Linehan is in North Texas. Hi, Joe.
James, what's going on?
Yeah, what is going on? You were busy this weekend, apparently.
Yeah, I was down in Houston for the Dare to Dream tournament, which was great. We had 23 teams from throughout the state, and last year we only had 9 in one division of 12 and under mixed. This year we had 23 in 3 divisions, including 5 10 and under and 5 12 and under girls, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's and what you can compare that with is apparently that Irvine was holding the same tournament, right? And they had the same number of teams, and they even had fewer teams in Northern California at their Dare to Dream version. So again, a big success, especially like you said, different teams. They're not they're not like the A and B teams from the same club. That's very cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was, you had teams from Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and also kind of North Texas. It was well represented kind of from throughout the state. And the Vipers did a great job of hosting locally. And thank you so much to Rudy Thomas and Scott Slay for hosting at Lamar High School. But it was all of the athletes and all of the parents had a tremendous time.
So good. And you got to work on the new rules. So I actually got that deck that USA Waterpolo sent out recently about how, including video on how the new rules are going to take shape. Apparently your dogs are reading the same thing right now, but those have been super helpful, and also just watching European Championships at the same time to watch how they're implementing these rules. So how did that go in Houston with our young friends?
Well, it was a little bit. It's the first tournament of the season, so it's new for athletes, coaches, and officials as well.
Yeah.
So it was
a lot of board.
Very far from the European Championships, but
really,
yes, and it was it was new for not just the athletes, coaches, but also the officials as well. So there was a little bit of getting used to it. Plus, you have to throw in the 12 and under kind of modifications as well.
Right, which are what?
There's no direct shots outside of 6 meters now, or from the corner throw, but you still can pop the ball up and go in and shoot. So,
got it.
So that was the difference right there. Is it was a little bit of confusion. Okay, is that allowed or not allowed? And everybody worked through it for the first part of kind of during the first couple of games on Saturday. But I think everybody got it. All the kids were popping the ball and getting it live, and everybody seemed to understand the rules by the end of the day on Saturday, so there was no real issues on Sunday at all.
That's great. Yeah, they're quick learners, especially when there's a turnover involved if they don't do this stuff. So yeah, very good.
So just the officials were having some good conversations, kind of whether it was amongst themselves or with me or even with the coaches, and the coaches were doing a great job at just kind of teaching the kids along the way, because you can talk to them in practice and prepare them a little bit, but until they actually play it, it's a little bit different. So
yeah. I practiced tonight. We got to work on that stuff because I have a couple of kids who went to ODP, and I did not do a good enough job of schooling them beforehand, and they just couldn't remember that that's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, there's some work to be done.
But then you have to throw in the fact that during the upcoming high school season, it goes back to the 5 meter rules and
confusing.
The no popping the ball up, and
yep.
So it's going to be like that, but we're hoping that the high school rules are going to be, or the high school federation is going to adopt the new USA Waterpolo rules. Kind of here, they have some meetings in April, so so that's the hope. So it's going to be the high school and the USA Waterpolo rules are going to be the same. I don't know about the NCAA; that's a different beast entirely.
Yeah.
But it's going to be. I like the new rules. I don't think it really changes the game that much. But it does, and this is the one thing I like about it is it used to be extremely subjective.
Oh yeah.
When after a minor foul, the defense had to back off.
Yeah.
Then when can the athlete go and or when can the defender go and attack the offense again?
Right.
And play defense. Now it's extremely subjective. No, it's more black and white to where once they pop the ball up, defense can go attack them and play on them. Now the subjective part is how long does the referee give that player to pop the ball up in the air? Is it going to be 1 or 2 seconds? Is it going to be a quote unquote a reasonable amount of time? or without the undue delay.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of different terms out there, but I do like how it is a lot more black and white. And I'm just telling people, I mean, like I know we've talked about the upcoming spin lob tournament. That's going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. That's going to be closer to the European Championships, to where it's going to be a bunch of adults in the water who think that they know everything. And they're going to be adjusting to the new rules kind of for the first time. And then we're going to have a bunch of referees that may or may not have kind of refereed the rules already.
Wow.
Because there are a number of referees that have been calling the new rules for over a year, but I mean, it's going to be an interesting dynamic in a couple of weeks at spin level as well. But, it's not that hard. It's just that, it's just going to be, it's on the clubs to kind of teach it, to kind of prepare it, and then kind of during the first couple of events to really just kind of focus on it. So
Yeah.
overall, it was great. Everybody worked really well together this past weekend, and that's what the Dare Dream's about.
Yeah.
Is just getting everybody together. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of great sportsmanship, and it's not just between the athletes and athletes, but it's also the coaches and the referees and the spectators, the parents. The parents kind of were up there talking back and forth. Everybody got along great, and it was a tremendous event for everybody. And I'm glad that I'm glad that we're doing it. Again, we had 9 teams last year, and we had 23 teams this year, and we just hope it's going to keep growing and growing and growing. So.
Right, and really, this is the age level that is going to grow the sport the most. We've talked about it before, but UIL is going to be a driver for growth. I think we're both convinced of that. But just getting into these age groups that are, including splash ball from 5 to 11 or 5 to 10 or whatever, and then these 10 and under and 12 and under tournaments, those are the things that are going to really drive growth as well.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wasn't even that long ago that a lot of players, they wouldn't start water polo until their freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Whether it was here or even in California. And it for long-term stability of any club, you're going to have to get the younger kids. And it's not just the younger kids once, and then you just kind of follow that group until they're 18s, and then have to go get another younger kids team.
Yeah.
No, you have to get the younger kids every year. And that's one thing I try to preach to all the clubs out there is have feeder system programs.
Right.
Have splash ball, have 10 and under programs, have 12 and under programs. I mean, I spent the last couple of weeks prior to the Dare to Dream tournament of talking to the different clubs and putting people together and going, how many 10 and unders do you have? Well, you have 3 or 4, and then this other team has 3 or 4. Why don't y'all play together for kind of for this tournament? And it was a great experience for everybody that played. So, and our hope is that they go back and they tell all their buddies, and the parents tell all of their friends about how much fun it was, and then they're going to get that many more out at the next tournament. And then hopefully because this upcoming spring, the USA Water Polo events are kind of strictly 8th grade and 6th grade and 4th grade and younger, that that they're going to have a lot more. We're going to have a lot more clubs out at the tournaments, a lot more athletes out at the tournaments, and then all of a sudden, instead of us barely just having one 12 and under girls team or 2 12 and under boys teams, that we're actually going to going to have to play it out to go to JOs eventually. Right. And that's one of the reasons why we split the NJO quals this past year, because we have a ton of 18s and 16 and under teams, and our 14s and 12s are growing. We had the most we've ever had this past summer, but probably only half the clubs actually, I think we had only 4 or 5 clubs that actually had the 14s or 12s this past summer, but we had 11 total clubs go to JOs.
Right.
So we have another 6 or 7 clubs that can that can keep growing and enter those and enter those younger age groups, which I'm excited about, because I know all those clubs are trying to do that.
Well, you'll be delighted to know. Splash ball for my club starts February. In fact, I might actually advertise that next time we talk about it. So finally getting that off the ground. One of the reasons is that outdoor pool, we got to get the pool covers off of the little kiddie pool. But anyway, that's February. One other item about Dare to Dream was that the format changed, right? I mean, it used to be championship. It was not championship this year. What was behind that decision?
Oh, I mean, it's just that, again, we just wanted to focus on the sportsmanship and the camaraderie and everybody coming together and playing good quality games and not worrying about, we win and then we go play here. It was a little bit easier to schedule. It's easier for parents because here's your 4 games. here's the times of your 4 games. It's not like you have to play one game and then you have to wait.
That is helpful.
So overall, it was great. I was a little concerned that I was going to have some issues from parents or athletes or coaches that were going to be concerned about, kind of where's our medals and stuff like that. But no, I mean, it was, everybody kind of bought in. Everybody loved it. I kind of made the schedule, so I was able to kind of put the better teams against each other, the newer teams against each other. So that created a lot of very good games out there.
Right.
And then because they're good games, everybody's competitive, and everybody really just like the level of enthusiasm just rises, and all these kids are going to go back like a little bit more confident. And that was the main purpose of kind of making that change. So.
Right. Okay. Well, good. Well done. I think it's something we'll cover again, obviously, a year from now. But actually, what we're going to do when we come back is the Austin College women's varsity season is very close to being underway. I'm going to talk with Coach Mark Lawrence about that, and then Joe and I will cover that as well in the last segment.
In many podcasts, this time would be filled with ads for electric toothbrushes or recruiting services. Not here. Instead, we're asking you to show your support for TXWaterpolo by donating to it. Go to txwaterpolo.com/donate and help us continue covering the sport we love in the Lone Star State.
Hi, I'm U.S. Olympian Janai Kerr, and when I need to stay up to date with my water polo news in Texas, I listen to the TXWaterpolo Podcast.
That's above and beyond the call of love.
I'm in my favorite Roos water polo hoodies just so that I can talk with head coach Mark Lawrence. How are you, Mark?
Good, James. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the NCAA season is already underway, so it's time to check in, and and I'm looking forward to talking about your first weekend, which is going to be a very challenging one. But first, everyone in the audience has one question for you, which is, how's the puppy?
Oh, dude, he's doing awesome. He's 16 weeks old today, and he's 45 pounds. So,
how's your house?
What's that? The house is doing really well. So
okay, so the dog has not gone on to destroy like half of your furniture or anything like that.
No, he's been pretty good so far. I don't want to jinx it, but he's been pretty good. So. Yeah.
Does the dog get to come to practice?
He does starting this weekend.
Nice.
When he gets his 16-week-old shots.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Your team will not be distracted by that cute dog at all. That'll be just fine.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So
excellent.
All professional focus.
We'll be checking in about that and other stuff. So there a lot of games took place this last weekend at the Division I level mainly, but your first game is on Friday the 31st. And of course, you start off with that super easy game. Brown, like a very challenging team. Was that scheduled by design? Because I know you're part of the Bruno Classic tournament. Was your game against Brown sort of to start? Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great professional relationship with Brown and their program. Obviously, they've already been at the Austin College and things of that nature. So we are excited to start our season off playing against them. And kind of get an idea of where we are at and what we want to build into and kind of how we stack up. They're a really great program, really strong program, as are all 5 opponents that weekend. So it's gonna be a great weekend just to see where we stand for right now, where we need to be in mid-April. So.
And you couldn't pick probably a better facility on the East Coast. That's a great place to start your season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Claremont Scripps is your next game that Friday, followed by Siena. Claremont is a team that you could theoretically meet in Division III championships, actually. Siena, not so much. They're going through a bit of a change in leadership. Bucknell, it's always strong. And then a curious game on Sunday, which is against LIU, which is a brand new program that has gotten sort of accolades for recruiting some pretty good players so far. What are you looking for amongst the Siena, Bucknell, and LIU games?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bucknell, to start with them, they're a program, we see them more, or me in my personal career, I've seen them more on the men's side, But I mean, they're very well coached. Their coaching staff is one of the best. Their women's program is always very good, coming off a really good year. So that game, like the Brown game, is going to be challenging for sure. Kind of a benchmark to see where we're at skill-wise and chemistry-wise with our team, and just kind of get in there and compete and see how we do. With Long Island and Siena, I mean, they're both Division I programs with scholarships. Long Island has a really good roster for a first-year program, so we're expecting that to be a really tough game, and both programs to be really tough games. Okay. So we're excited for the weekend. We're very hopeful coming home with a couple of wins, but we also have 5 really tough games. So it'll be a great launching point for the year. So
right, and that speaks also to what you've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I think you had a bit of a unique training situation this winter prior to the season. What can you tell us about how things have gone so far?
Yeah, so we had a really good fall camp late in the fall where we worked on a lot of our team concepts with our freshmen, and it was a unique change last year with only roughly 9 field players, 8 most of the time with girls being banged up and injured. It was always hard to scrimmage, right? So we had lots of situational shooting drills where we had to use our imagination on how they apply to a 6-on-6. So this fall was great. Like we have 16 women, 17 if we have 1 injured player, unfortunately, but we have 16 healthy bodies in the water. So being able to go full scrimmage every single day and apply concepts and stuff and not have to kind of imagine is a phenomenal change for this year. So we had a really great fall camp. We're actually starting this weekend with training. So with our official team training, with our new Division III Final Four this year, since it's an USA Waterpolo event and not NCAA, the weeks in between our championship and the Final Four, if we're fortunate enough to qualify for it, they actually count against our total weeks for the entire season.
Got it.
So with those counting towards our limited weeks, we had to push our start back a little bit. And this was something that we found out after the schedule was made. So if we had originally started in early January like we had hoped, I feel really confident we'd come home for this weekend with 3 or 4 wins. Starting this weekend and having 4 or 5 days before we compete, I don't know if it changes it a whole lot. I mean, we're still very confident in what we're able to do, but it definitely limits what we could do prior to this weekend. So is prior to the first competition.
Right. Is then this weekend just nothing but training? You're going doubles or something like that?
Yeah. So we're fitting in some huge training blocks this weekend. Next week we have some pretty big training blocks, trying to max out our allowed hours, within the week, and then we're off to Providence. So, but our women are, we have a great group of young women who are very self-motivated. So they definitely stayed in shape after the fall. They're very committed to the weight room and staying healthy and staying fit. So having to push the season back really hasn't been too much of a challenge.
That's excellent. Yeah, I got insider information from one of my people up there. So I know that they've been training on their own, which is very good news. All right. So let's talk about Division III national championships. I was joking with Joe on this podcast a couple weeks ago that I have you penciled in as not only the hosts but participant at the Division III championships. But to be, what are your genuine goals in that regard? I'm assuming that you think that you can probably get one of those spots.
Yeah, I mean, we're really hopeful. We had a really great season last year, finishing second in our conference. But a lot of that success came with also surprising teams. I don't know if much was expected out of a first-year program. And I think, I know for sure that first weekend that we showed up, we caught teams off guard for sure, and then after we caught teams off guard because they weren't sure what to expect, it was a pretty small window to make adjustments and try to make changes once you're already halfway through your season. So I think last year a lot of our success came with catching teams off guard. This year, we're definitely not going to catch anyone off guard. We're going to come in every single conference weekend, and we know we're going to get everyone's best shot every single game. So we'll see how it kind of plays out. We're very confident in what our ability is, but the reality is that our conference has the former Michigan head coach, the former Indiana head coach, the former George Washington head coach. We have some great experienced coaches and some great young coaches in our conference. So the teams we're going to play against are going to be very well coached, and we'll kind of have to take it game by game. But our first goal is our Brown weekend. For the season, we're taking every weekend kind of step by step, and we're on the Brown first, and then we go to California. So we'll kind of see where we're at when we get back from California. Looking forward to conference, but top 2 teams from the conference will qualify, and we, at the very least, we expect to be in a spot to compete for one of those spots. So,
and the qualifying tournament is in mid-April, is that right?
Yeah, so it's the weekend of April 17th through April 19th. So,
okay.
And the way it works is this year the winner of the SCIAC will host, and then next year the winner of the CWPA will host the Final Four. So it's going to alternate every other year per conference champion. So hopefully in spring of 21 we might be hosting the D3 Final Four in Texas. So that'll be very exciting. So
I have that on my calendar.
There's a lot to do from now until then. So we'll worry about this first trip for right now. So.
You speak to something, though, that's pretty interesting, right? So last year, you're essentially a freshman team, and yes, you surprised some people out of the gate. So this year, you may not surprise them so much about having a skill set, but you have a cohort that's now a season more experienced, and then an influx of new talent that they've never seen before. Is that somehow, are you looking for that to be an advantage against some of these teams, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I think this year what I'm really excited about is the depth that our women's team is going to have. I'm really excited about that. We returned our entire roster except for 1 freshman from last year. And then so we bring back 8 of our 9 freshmen from last year's class as far as field players go. We brought back our goalie from last year. So we had 4 girls make conference honors last year, and all 4 of them are back this year.
Right.
And then on top of that, we have a freshman class, including 1 transfer, that is equally as talented as our class was last year. So we're really excited. I think this year we're not going to surprise people necessarily, but I think we'll create difficult challenges for teams to match our depth within our conference play. As we look at our roster and we look at our hypothetical 1 through 14 as far as the field players go, there's pretty little separation. So we're going to be able to go sub 3 in, sub 6 in, go really deep in every game. And so I think this year we're going to have to balance out not surprising people with, giving them a challenge of trying to match our depth, within conference play. So we're really excited about that. And then our freshman class coming in next fall might be our strongest. It's essentially done with the exception of a goalie that we're still working on. And it might be the strongest class to this point when it's all said and done. So we're really excited for this season and then what the future is going to hold. So
right, that's among the most exciting things actually to think about, because I'm older, so my perceptions of these seasons is not like it was when I played. It's like one endless season followed by another, and now it's just like I'm ready for next year already. Like I'm thinking about what your incoming class is going to look like and the rest of the conference is going to look like and all that. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and it's really great. Like, our conference has a lot of programs that are rebuilding or developing. We have a couple of new programs in our conference, not just us. But I think the one thing that gets overlooked in our conference is that our conference has phenomenal coaches, as far as experienced coaches, or as far as young and like upcoming coaches. So we're really excited for what the future, not only of our program, but of what our conference future is. With the coaching staff that we have, and we secretly have a lot of really nice pools in our conference, which is, I would say, more quality pools than some of the Division I conferences. So, so what the future holds is really, really great. So,
well, speaking of quality pools, the natatorium on campus is going to be hosting a game on March 19 against VMI. What do you expect at that game, at that weekend, basically?
I mean, we haven't looked that far ahead too much yet, besides just sheer excitement of having a game on campus.
Right.
But I fully expect our women to play at that point the best game of the season, if not the best game of our program, to that point, just because it's going to be their first official varsity home game. Last year we had Texas A&M up here as a club program, but to have a varsity program here, a D1 varsity program that was nationally ranked just 2 seasons ago, on campus, I think the sheer excitement level that our women will have is going to drive them to play a great game. So we definitely welcome them to Sherman, and we expect to greet them with a very hard-fought game and be in a position to win when it's all said and done. So
and a very noisy one, if my recollection of in there, yeah.
Extremely noisy. Our natatorium is not pretty, but it gets very loud to our benefit, and I would say in a very short time we've created one of the better home game environments within college water polo. So.
Yeah, not only home game, but I fully expect to see tweets aplenty from Brown when you guys hit the ground there. You have some of the most active parent groups, I think, of any team that I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that we travel as well as any D1 program. You know, our men being at MPSF, like we went to Cal this year and USC last year, and we had as big of a fan base as some of the schools that were not the home team, right? So.
Right.
We're really excited about that, and the women's team is no different from the men's. We get our pool gets packed. The stands are pretty full when we travel, so it's pretty great.
So we'll wrap up here, but a quick couple questions maybe. I don't know how much you've been observing the season as it began last week. We all know it's an Olympic year. There's a piece by Michael Randazzo, who's a colleague of mine on Swimming World, about the first weekend of play in the women's side. And it's already been marked by some what you would call upsets in normal years, but maybe not so much during an Olympic year when all of that talent is just basically off campus. But we got UC Santa Barbara beats UCLA. My mighty Tritons of UC San Diego beat Cal for the first time ever. Michigan turned around and beat Santa Barbara, and UCI beat Cal as well. Anything that surprised you, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think any time that the Big Four gets knocked off, it's a surprise. Not like a jaw-dropping surprise, because these programs are obviously very well coached and are very talented. So it's not necessarily like a shock, but I think anytime when the Big Four goes down is a surprise for sure. But I mean, these teams are really talented. Like you mentioned a couple of them with San Diego, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, Michigan, Hawaii. These teams every single year are as good as the top tier programs. So I think it makes for a very exciting season as we move forward. And it was really great to see. It's always great to see non-California teams from the Midwest and the East Coast go out there and do really well. So seeing Michigan with that win was great, and it's good for the sport. So
I totally agree, and that's coming from two native Californians. So there you go. That's nothing but good news. Yep, exactly. All right. Well, Mark, good luck. We'll be in touch with you maybe right after your tournament at Brown, but we obviously wish you the best of luck, and we'll speak with you soon.
Thanks, James. Have a great day.
You too.
Hey, this is Jesse Smith, recent Pan Am gold medalist. I was just checking out Texas Water Polo from the TXWaterpolo Podcast. Also, you can check out their website. You can follow me at GoSmith now. Thanks, guys.
James and Joe finishing out the show for today. After our conversation with Mark Lawrence, the women's NCAA season has already started. The Division III schools don't tend to have started yet, but Austin College begins their first their first game is against Brown on the 31st. But one thing just about the season overall is that this weekend already provided a bunch of upsets, which it sort of mirrors what happened during the men's season. Santa Barbara beat Cal, and then it turned out that Michigan also beat UC Santa Barbara and Cal State Northridge, but lost to Cal and UC Irvine. So we're off to a pretty good start as far if we're looking for a little more parity at this level.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to see how the Austin College team does this spring, and I mean I think Mark is kind of full of confidence for the upcoming season, as he should be. I think they had nine freshmen last year. And they have about 15 or so girls kind of coming back this year, including the 9 freshmen plus the incoming recruits.
Yeah.
So I think watch out for the CWPA Division III teams out there, because Austin College is going to be coming loaded and ready to go.
I think the aim is for both Mark and for us, right? Is Division III championships. That would be remarkable after 2 years of existence, really. So, and toward that end, man, they did not skimp on the schedule. They're playing Brown for their first game, then other D1 schools, Siena, Bucknell, the new program at LIU in Brooklyn, Monterey Bay, Sonoma, East Bay. I mean, it's a pretty packed schedule. Not to mention their conference play, which they were challenged in that last year, but ended up coming out second.
Yeah, and then you can't forget they're going to have a home game on Thursday, March 19th. So everybody put that on their calendar.
Yeah.
That's the Virginia Military Institute is coming, and that'll be at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 19th. So put that on your calendar and come on out and kind of cheer on the Roos. I'm sure that's going to be at their home pool, and it's going to be. It gets loud in there, so I'm looking forward to going up there and watching that game, and I guarantee it's going to be loud. It's going to be their only home game of the year, as far as I know. And it's going to be great.
Yeah, they draw a bunch of people, obviously from campus, who don't get a chance to see the sport very often. And then, like you're saying in a previous podcast, you got people traveling from all over the state to go check out these games, which is great. And if you haven't been before, then you'll see what Joe's talking about. The walls are basically right on top of you, and there's not a whole lot of stands, and the noise just reverberates in that place. Even if you're there during practice and there's no one in the stands, man, it gets noisy.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. I am looking forward to it, and my hope is that they're going to continue their success up there with Mark and his program. And I do know that there's some other schools in Texas that are actively looking because of the UIL thing, kind of coupled with the Austin College success.
Yeah,
they're looking at, and I know that Austin College really wants some other schools to add just so they can have a little bit more local competition.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of people out there that are talking to these people and trying to help them out. It's a slow process. A lot of people don't understand. It's not just, okay, we're going to have water polo. Yeah. And then we're going to start next year. No, it's going to be, okay, we have to plan, then we have to budget, and then the questions have to be asked, how are we going to play games?
Right.
So I have a feeling that there's not just going to be 1 or 2 schools that add at a time. It's going to be 4 or 5 schools just so they can have a conference.
Well,
and then they have people to play locally. So.
Yeah, and Austin College has basically helped them. The learning curve is a little shorter because they've experienced doing all of that already. Who do you play? Where do you go? And if there are teams in Texas, and I hope you're listening, Southwestern College in Georgetown, because that's the next place, right, Joe? No.
No comment. I don't know.
No comment. It'll be fun one day, Joe, because you'll be able to talk about the schools that you knew were considering it, but obviously hush until then. But those teams have those programs, those athletic directors have a program to mimic if they want to add the sport.
Exactly, but it's I think I just said it. It's going to take some time because first you need to then you have to plan, and then you have to hire a coach, and then you have to give them time to recruit. So you can't just hire a coach in April and say we're starting in September.
Well, Mount St. Mary's apparently just did that. There's a little school in the middle of Maryland that just added water polo and are starting this fall, right? Isn't that correct?
They are doing that. That is true, but that is going to be tough because they're going to have to get a whole bunch of recruits that maybe haven't decided. It's going to be a whole lot of local kids from Maryland and Pennsylvania. And then they're going to have to get a lot of junior college kids to kind of transfer in. But that's a unique situation. Most people, to give you an example, Mark Lawrence up in Austin College, was hired almost a year and a half before they even played their first game.
And they played a club season too. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that gave them time to recruit and establish the program and get out there. And that's one of the reasons why he was able to have, I believe, 10, 11 girls.
Yeah.
And about, I think he had 19, 20 boys, his first recruiting class.
Yeah.
As opposed to rushed and just trying to make it right. So Austin College kind of did it right, but they had time to do it right. I think you're completely right. A lot of these schools can use Austin College as a blueprint, and then the process is going to get sped up a little bit. They may not have to kind of do a year as club. They may just go straight into varsity. But my hope here is, within a couple of years that we have a Texas-based varsity NCAA conference for both men and women.
That would be sweet. That would be really good.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And talking about colleges, Louis Nicolao is coming down to Houston.
Yeah,
for a clinic.
Yeah, Triumph is hosting him on February 1st at Clear Springs High School. I'm probably going to send my kids to that thing.
Yeah, just if you're out there and you're wanting, just contact Jeff Otten at Triumph Aquatics, and he can give you more information on it. But it's going to be for high school and middle school kids. I think there is a limit for the number of kids that can be part of it. So I would contact them sooner rather than later. That's only a week and a half away. Yeah. But for those that don't know, Louis Nicolao is the head coach at the US Naval Academy. He actually graduated from the US Naval Academy back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And he was an All-American there. And then he actually coached Princeton for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he was very successful on both the men's and women's side. And then he heard the call to come back home and kind of redo the Navy program that had kind of fallen on some hard times there for a couple of years after Mike Schofield left.
Yeah.
And kind of Louis doing a great job there. They were a lot more competitive this past fall, and Louis is a great guy and even a better coach. So
where did he go to high school? Do you know?
No.
Bellarmine Prep, Bay Area guy. So he's older than me. We didn't play against him.
All about California, James. All about California.
It's all about me.
This is the TXWaterpolo Podcast here.
Who are the teams that I played against? That's what the people want to hear. It was Wilson Bellarmine. That was a huge rivalry. So yeah.
Again, February 1st, Louis Nicolao, the head coach for the US Naval Academy, is going to be doing a clinic in Houston, Texas at I believe you say Clear Springs High School. It's going to be hosted by Triumph Aquatics. So contact Jeff Otten at Triumph, and he can get you more details.
I've never been to Clear Springs. Is that a good pool?
Yeah, it's an all deep 8-lane pool that's about 25 yards. So it's perfect. It's perfect for the clinic type setting.
Cool. A couple other things are coming up. Spin Lob, we talked about that quite a bit, but what are there any updates about any? No new teams have entered, right? The field is set.
Yeah, the field's set. The tournament's set. It's going to be February 1st and 2nd at the UT Swim Center. Games start at 11:30 and it's going to go to about 8:30 on Saturday and start at 7 a.m. and go to about 3:30 on Sunday. So if you're in the Austin area and then you want to come and see some really high level water polo with some former national team players and some former Olympic athletes on both the men's and women's side, it's going to be some very high level water polo. Just kind of come on out. There is no admission, so just kind of come on out and enjoy. So. Again, it's at the UT Swim Center.
Admission. That's really good.
The UT Swim Center. It's going to be kind of February 1st and 2nd. So
yeah, okay. Cowtown Rodeo, that new club up in Fort Worth, is hosting again this spring after having hosted something in the fall.
Yeah, exactly. So that is February 8th and 9th, and then the Thunder Spring Invite is going to be for only the 8th grade and 6th grade and the 4th grade and under kids because that's after high school season starts.
Yep.
That'll be in Southlake. That's being hosted by Thunder, and that's February 29th and March 1st. So that'll be good. And I think that's the same weekend that you're going to be out at ODP Nationals, right?
That's exactly right. Yep. If there's something that's taken up my time for the past couple of weeks, it's the logistics for planning for that. Just like before Utah, all this stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty intense time and to get everybody all arranged and set and ready to go to Riverside.
Oh yeah, it's not it. Yeah, I mean it's not easy. The parents and athletes think that you just show up and coach, right? So
Yeah, which is actually might be my least skilled part is actual X's and O's. But and if you do want one of the special Southwest Zone ODP T-shirts, you can go find it. It's on odpswz.wordpress.com. The only thing is it's not going to get shipped to your house if you order it. It's going to be in Louisville when we're training on the 16th of February. So, but they're super cheap. So go check that out, support the zone. We'll hopefully see you in Louisville picking that thing up.
And also, good luck to all those high school swimmers. We're in the middle of the high school championship swim season. A lot of districts had a lot of districts in North Texas had their district championships this past weekend. A lot of districts in Houston are having their swim championships this upcoming weekend. Region championships are January 31st and February 1st for both throughout the state. And then the state championships are in the middle of February. And then we go right into high school water polo season, which is exciting. So
I'm pleased for all those swimmers, and I'm delighted that the season is coming to an end. That's my editorial.
And then the women's ODP national championship is going to be happening in the middle of March too. Also, it's also in Riverside, right? So
also in Riverside. Good Riverside, yeah, good times. We both have stories about Riverside, so it's pretty funny. Okay. All right, that's it. We're done. So go to TXWaterpolo.com to listen to the podcast. Find us on social media, leave comments, and those kinds of things. But today we are done. And Joe, thank you very much.
All right, James. Take care.
2, thanks to all of you for listening and for telling a friend about the TX Waterpolo Podcast. And until next week, so long from Austin.